when I had to drive around and do errands, even though it was just me, I wasn't like loathsome that I had to drive this.
No.
It was like, okay, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Whereas if I had that Traverse, I would have not done the errands. I would have found something else to do with my time.
You would have not done the errands?
Yeah. Hey everybody, it's Charlie and Chris with Daily Motor, and today's a fun day because in the last 2 weeks we've had a Mazda CX-9 and we've had a Chevy Traverse, which is a 3-row family crossover. Mm-hmm. And this week we have the Mazda CX-9, which you're assuming because you've read the title of this video or seen the thumbnail, and we hope that you're using your cognitive thinking skills to put together that we're probably going to go outside and check out a Mazda CX-9. So I'm curious if, after having a family mobile and a Mazda, now that we've mashed them together, if this is the best family mobile, even though the CX-9 is a little bit dated.
I've heard it's the carbon edition.
It is the carbon edition.
Whatever
Let's
that
go.
means.
It's also quite blustery today.
Ooh, why is it terrible? Oh.
Yeah, you haven't been outside.
I haven't been
have you?
outside, no, in like hours.
Here it is.
It's a car.
In carbon color. I'll have to look up the name of the actual color. This looks like a similar...
You know what? Everything is this color. We've been noticing this.
I know.
The Infiniti was this color, the Audi RS3 was this color, and now this.
Yep. Yeah, this is the color of the year. And Mazda made a whole edition out of it. So this is kind of a fun one. Remarkably, you'd think carbon edition would mean blacked out, but it isn't. Because
look at the seats. I'm
we've
sorry.
got chrome on here. And Chris and I are about to be murdered by a Ford Escape. Ah, yes, the classic CX-9 signature red seats. And I have just stepped in time to not be rained on a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say the rain picked up quite a bit.
Yeah.
I guess I'm driving.
Yeah. Yeah, drive us.
I guess I'm driving. Okay.
I've always loved the cockpit feel of the CX-9.
This just feels like a CX-5.
Well, let's not get demonetized. It's quite aggressive. Does this car cost more than $50,000?
Probably not. It's probably like mid-40s. You think this is 50 grand?
I bet you it's like 50 on the dot.
There's probably no Monroney, so how would we ever know?
I'll check out, I'm sure I can bring it up here.
This is the exact infotainment that was in the CX-5.
Yep.
The screen's the same, this is the same, the shifter looks the same, sport button's the same, steering wheel's the same, except this one's got red stitching, which is cool. Cluster's the same. Yeah, it just feels like a CX-5 in here, but it's bigger. So if you have a big family, then you should buy a Mazda CX-9.
All right, review's over.
Yep.
Let's go home.
And with that, CX-9 on.
CX-9 on. Now we need to go throw this around oversteer to see if it does really resemble the CX-5 in its driving abilities. The coolest thing about the CX-9 has always been it's a little bit smaller than other 3-row crossovers, and when it isn't raining as dramatically, we will do more
it's actually not
back seat sitting.
Too dramatically at this moment.
And it's enough that I don't want to be in it. But what it kind of makes up for in being a little less practical is it makes up for in driving dynamics.
Nice reverse camera. Do we have a 360 camera?
Oh, also nice.
Probably not.
Monroney here.
No Monroney?
Well, you can see there is a Monroney, but then when I click on it, nothing.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
This car, it's 6,700 miles on this thing.
That's a lot.
I was going to say, look how shiny the steering wheel is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Daily Motor, the only channel that gives you car reviews where the video just looks at someone's phone while somebody else tells you about how the car drives.
Can you please turn on the defrost?
Fortunately, the controls are physical,
yes.
so it literally takes one click to do so.
Only channel. No, we just have to, the brake pedal. Yes. Feel the brakes out here.
Well, it has 67,000 miles
Hold
on
on,
brakes.
Charlie.
That isn't good.
It's not good.
It's not a good
reminding me of the M Roadster.
Which is good.
Yeah.
But not in the right way.
No, we have to keep up the tradition of whoever's filming their review doesn't actually drive.
Daily Motor, the only channel that lets you sit in the passenger seat.
Mm-hmm.
We do POV.
I was gonna say,
but then don't film from the drive.
You should start labeling the videos POV, passenger impressions.
Honestly, that's how we could do our. Yeah,
is it a turbo?
Someone
put premium in this.
Here. This was the first of the Mazda cars to have that 2.5 liter turbocharged motor, and there's an anecdote that I love retelling about this car.
Okay.
When the Mazda designers were getting the engine programmed and tuned and designed how it should be, the engineers and the planners went out and followed soccer moms around on their daily commutes and emulated their driving and then tuned this powertrain to be conducive for that.
Right.
Straight
Okay.
out of Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Is that a true story?
Yes, it is. They actually followed around soccer moms doing their soccer momming.
Like
And,
without consent?
well, I don't know where consent was.
They're like in blacked out, like
They honestly could have been.
they're like following behind.
But either way, they were tracking, and you see how much just low torque it's tuned for? I mean, you've always
torque.
known this because of Mazda.
I love this powertrain.
Right, but this was the first car to have that powertrain. So that's what kind of sparked the whole, like, low, grunty, turbocharged, doesn't rev out very high because soccer moms don't care about revs type of engine.
So this car is eventually going to be replaced by what's probably going to be the CX-9. It's like that inline six thing that they have in Japan.
But why would they need to replace it?
Well, they won't. Like, I mean, it'll be the same car. It'll just have a different sound or a different name. It just looks like there's so much traffic up here right now.
That's because you're not using your windshield wipers.
Yes, I am. Well, I thought they were on auto. I don't know
I
how
need
to tell.
to change the aggression in which the auto.
Now they're off completely.
Ooh, a venue. In
Nice.
Lime green.
Is it a denim?
No.
Okay, so that should be auto now. This should be an auto.
But you might need to change it to faster auto because it's on slow
it's on
auto.
low
right
auto.
now. There you go.
Why shouldn't auto just be auto?
No, because you can adjust the aggression of your auto. Like, do you want fast auto or not fast auto? Oh, he's not quite sure which lane he wants to be in.
I feel like I gotta put my hazards on so I don't get rear-ended.
Are you gonna overtake him into oversteer?
No.
Do it.
There's a.
No, he's gonna. Oh, just wait so that at the very last second he cuts over. 3, 2. Oh, okay. Never mind.
This person probably thinks.
But the Arctic Glacier truck is
This
stopped.
person thinks I brake checked them.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Oh!
Mm-hmm.
Why? I don't want to drive anymore. I'm gonna be done for today.
Cutting directly over, even though there's an entire
Merge
3 lanes
lane.
to
Let's see.
merge.
What do we have in there?
I don't think we're allowed to comment on that.
He's not. He's not concerned.
No.
That red Explorer that was behind me, because I braked, he thought
Was
I
he
brake
cross?
checked him. He was very cross. Yeah, he was very cross. But I had to brake.
USB A's, no USB C's in here. Look how nice this
I don't think
chrome is,
USB-C
though.
existed when they introduced this car.
You know, in the Signature that we had, this was wood grain, but maybe since this is carbon edition, it has to be carbony.
There's no carbon fiber in here at all.
No, it's just carbon.
Ooh, you know what? How's the Bose in here? It's probably pretty good.
I don't know. It's been a long time since I've driven a CX-9.
Okay, well, you're about to drive a CX-9 because I am retiring from driving already.
I've got two-way lumbar adjustment on the passenger side.
It's only 4 o'clock. Aren't all the D-Gens have an hour of work still?
It's bold of you to assume that most of the D-Gens are working.
That's fair, actually.
Red cross stitching. This is wireless device charging.
Emily is calling me.
Should we answer her? Go for it.
A lot of motorcycles. Well, I'll answer her when we park. Or I'll answer her right now, actually.
We'll look around here. You got heated steering wheel. That's good. Do you have ventilated seats? This is so that you can keep your elbow on if you'd like, and I can still open and get in here.
Oh, right. That is convenient.
Mm-hmm. Cup holders right there. Second row climate control. I am digging this red. That is for sure. No panoramic sunroof. Mazda knows that would just add weight and throw off your center of gravity.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't do that. I kind of like how the dash is very low. For this being a 3-row vehicle,
It's a pretty
it
low
feels
dash.
like we're sitting over everything.
You can see out of it. Yeah, pretty good visibility.
Yeah. Switch?
Yeah, switch.
Can we check out the rear areas? Oh my gosh. Maybe we should just save that for the second portion of the video.
Oh, is it windy?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, dear.
Black wheels, because journalist spec.
Gray with black wheels. It's all journalists want, right?
Yep. What a journalist wants, what a journalist needs. Alright, I will be activating the very unnecessary sport mode.
Did it have paddle shifters? I didn't even notice.
Yes.
Oh.
And the shifter is in the proper direction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does not wolf gears though.
It does if you turn traction off, I'm pretty sure. Mazda 3 does.
Where is the traction removal button?
I don't know, but you keep driving and I'll try and find it.
It might be in the screen.
I think
Oh,
it's
and
that
this
one.
Ford is stopped. Oh, I guess technically.
No, it should be stopped.
Is that a Forte GT? I believe
I think it was. Oh. Ooh, okay. A little risky. She looked right at you, too.
Yeah. She's like, I know what I'm doing. Fair enough. I don't mind on a day like today.
I know. Why are you just driving at 6,000 RPM? Why?
Stress testing the motor. Sorry, Escape or Explorer, don't take this personally.
Why is it not shifting?
Because I have it in manual mode.
Oh my god. Oh. Not bad.
Yeah. You like how it short shifts at... Oh, did you feel that?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was a
weird
little-
shift. We've grenaded the transmission already.
No, someone else did.
Someone else did. Your car and driver did that.
Yeah.
Soft places for elbows. Ooh,
Yeah,
remarkably
Mazda's,
soft.
I was going to
elbows.
say Mazda's really good about soft elbows. We
Yeah.
found that out in the CX-30.
I like this leather too. It feels good now that it's worn down a little bit.
This is a cool spec.
Yeah. Yeah, they really haven't done much with this car in many years, but that's not to say it's a bad thing. We'll be spending the next week figuring out if we'd rather have this than the Chevy Traverse, or the Hyundai Palisade, or the Kia Telluride, or the
Ford
Subaru
Explorer.
Ascent, or the Ford Explorer, or the Dodge Durango, or the Toyota Highlander, or the Honda Pilot.
I'd rather have it than a Subaru Ascent. I can already tell you that.
All right, well, Daily Motor top tip, if you're looking at a Mazda CX-9, buy a Subaru Ascent instead. That way you can really hold those gears.
I heard it helps with towing.
Yes, towing is great with that CVT. Off-roading, too.
Mm-hmm.
Last day with the Carbon Edition of Mazda's CX-9 three-row crossover. Chris and I have spent a good amount of time in it each, and we're going to hop back in, and I'm going to get some of his thoughts. You're going to hear some of my thoughts, and pretty much everything we told you we were going to do in the first half of the video, we're hopefully going to do now. I do think this thing looks good. I think everybody thinks it looks good.
I'm just seeing, it looks like it's had some paint work.
Yeah?
Sorry,
Chris has an amazing eye for paint work, dents, anything
maybe
body
it's just,
related.
Maybe it's just dusty. I don't know, because I
That's
hadn't
possible.
noticed that earlier this week. This has been another one of those cars where I've just kind of enjoyed having it around because it's so convenient for everything. But it does need an oil change.
Yes.
That's one thing.
Yep.
So you have to, every time you get an info once, info twice.
I'm glad it harasses people like that though, because if
No, it is a good
there
thing.
are many owners of three-row crossovers who would probably neglect oil changes.
I would have already changed the oil by now.
Yes, but you're not a three-row crossover owner.
I have grown to not as much like Mazda Infotainment.
Oh.
I'm over the whole knob thing.
Have you learned the shortcut that if you hold down the home button, it switches back and forth between Apple CarPlay and the main screen?
No.
That helps a lot.
Yeah, because I was struggling with, on my fuel economy test yesterday, I was wanting to go back and forth from my fuel economy screen in the information tab and back to Waze, like
Yeah.
back and forth. And I was having to like scroll. I took all my stuff
Okay.
out already. I was having to like scroll back to
Yep.
the main screen, back to Mazda, back to this, up to info. It was like the most obnoxious thing ever. Whereas if you had a touch screen, you could just click. You know, it would be a lot less effort.
No,
to
it
do
really
that.
does make a huge difference. And one of the commenters mentioned that in one of our previous Mazda videos that we complained about that. And it really does help because it not only does it go back to the main Mazda infotainment, but it goes right back to the screen you were on.
Wow,
So like
okay.
in your use case right there that you were describing, it would go directly back to the fuel economy screen. You can see what you wanted and you hold it again and it goes right
Directly
back to CarPlay.
back to CarPlay.
Yep,
Okay,
yep.
well then that would probably mitigate like a lot of my complaints there with this. And it's not even really complaints. It's more just like
It's observations.
I appreciate the knob. Keep the knob, but also make it a touchscreen, because that's what a lot of companies are starting to do. Like BMW does that.
Right.
Lexus, I believe, does that now with some of their cars. And
well, Lexus is all going touchscreen now anyway, but
yeah, but there was a Lexus where you could do both.
There's a crossover period, yeah.
And I don't mind that. I mean, I don't mind being able to use it both ways, because sometimes I like not having to like reach up while I'm driving, and I can just be down here doing my thing. But also, if there's something that I want to do quickly, then let me just do it.
No, I'm with you. I mean, more is always better than less. Why not have both? But I do think most of the things there are little shortcuts that can help with those, and the fact you got like a media button here, a map button there.
Right.
Those things do help a little bit.
Yeah. But like as far as driving dynamics go, I like it. I would like to have a V6. I don't mind this 2.5 turbo. I think that it's still nice in the way that it has so much load on torque that it doesn't have to rev itself out. So this is best case scenario 4-cylinder for me. Mm-hmm. But I think with a big SUV like this, I always do prefer a larger engine.
Okay. And that's good. I mean, we just had 2 3-row crossovers with V6s, so it's a good comparison.
I don't know. So it's weird because Mazda just puts this in everything. Like this engine's in the CX-30, it's in the CX-5. They even put this in the Mazda 3, don't they?
Yep.
So for them to have the same engine in their tiny little hatchback that they have in their big 3-row SUV is a little...
I do admit, it's a little goofy.
I don't know. I just think that they would add to the premium feel of this larger SUV by having a different engine in it. I don't know.
But the converse argument for that is then you'd be listening to a motor rev out and be kind of loud and high pitched, which you and I don't mind.
Not if they put an inline 6, though.
Okay. All right, Mazda, if you're watching.
Inline 6,
Inline 6, and everyone will buy your cars.
They're trying to be BMW. Come on, give us the inline 6.
Yeah, there was rumor of Mazda bringing an inline 6 to market.
Yeah, what happened to that?
Oh, I think it was kind of going in the Mazda 6, and now the Mazda 6 is gone. So I don't know. I don't know if inline 6.
Well, why can't they give us like a lifted Mazda 6 thing?
I don't know, because that's called the CX-5.
I thought that was this. I thought this was the lifted Mazda 6.
Maybe it is. Ooh, it's like
I think it's just water.
Yeah, water from outside. Yeah.
This morning it was
dewy.
Dewy, yes, it was quite dewy.
Yes.
We are getting to that time of year where it is dewy.
Correct. Soon it'll be frosty.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that.
A lot of the merits that the CX-9 have kind of transfer throughout the Mazda lineup, and the demerits also transfer through the Mazda lineup. We recently, I think over this weekend, put up the Mazda CX-5 versus everybody review, and most people commenting were very much like, yeah, CX-5 is awesome, but a few people pointed out some of its flaws compared to competitors, such as limited cargo space, not quite as good fuel economy,
no hybrid option,
and no panoramic sunroof. And all of those apply to the CX-9 as well.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as much cargo space as some of the competitors. Even up here, there's not as much space for stuff and things as a lot of Americans tend to have. Yeah. But it still has excellent driving dynamics compared to other 3-row crossovers. The materials are still very premium. Somebody described, I think it was Nathan, described this elbow area here as like one of those computer like mouse pad rests.
Mazda
very
makes
squishy.
Sure your elbows are comfy.
Yeah, comfy elbows.
And we love that.
We really do.
One thing I noticed this morning is when I had the heated steering wheel on, it only heats the sides.
Yes.
That's a very Toyota thing.
Yep. Well, maybe it's
must be a Mazda thing too.
Yeah, German car or Japanese car.
Japanese car, yeah. But I don't know. I mean, there are things that I like about this car.
Oh, there's plenty.
It's great to drive. As far as a 3-row SUV goes, it's probably the most fun to drive in its class. Like it's a lot more fun to drive than the Traverse.
The ride is very good.
The ride is great.
But it's not quite as floaty as the Traverse.
It's not quite as floaty.
People like us, driving enthusiasts, kind of appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's got a good steering. The wheel is a little small as well.
Yeah, the steering wheel itself, like the leather on it is nice, even though this one's kind of greasy and it's got 7,000 journalist miles on it, so it's
quite old. But I kind of like that leathery, like worn feel.
Yeah. Some people do.
Alyssa drove it, and it fit her quite well, being a smaller individual.
I could see that, because it's, like you said, it's not as open in here, and it's also, like, it's not as intimidating, and it doesn't feel as big, I guess we should say. Even though this is a 3-row SUV, when you're on the road, and even when you're just sitting in it, it really just feels like a CX-5 from where you sit.
That was one of my biggest takeaways after spending a few days with it was just driving it around, I had to go run some errands and things like that. You don't feel like you're driving a 3-row crossover from up here. And I think that's one of the best things about it.
Yes.
And I've actually recommended this vehicle to people whose primary use, they have 2 kids. And so every now and again, they're going to find it useful to use the 3rd row. But primarily, it's just him, or maybe just him and another adult, or just him and his 2 kids. So typically 4 people max, with the occasional ability to go 6 deep. But mostly he just appreciates having the space for putting stuff in the back of the vehicle. So that is a good, I don't think this is a minivan replacement vehicle by any means, but it's a very good, like, if you were driving a Ford Edge and maybe wanted that, again, occasional option to use the 3rd row, this is a really good choice.
This would be a good step up from an Edge for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well
and
priced,
it's got red
too.
seats.
And red seats.
Yeah,
Well,
red
seats at only $45,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm impressed at what you get, and I don't really see why you'd step up to the signature model when you get so many great features for $10,000 less.
I did a side-by-side comparison, and I couldn't work it out.
Yeah.
You know, as we do when we're making our winding road videos. Oh, hey, sorry, pause for a second. There's an outlet over here.
Yeah. Silly space for your 12-volt.
Anyways, well, as we do when we're doing our winding road videos, we have to, like, sometimes get specs. This car didn't come with a Monroney, so I had to go on Mazda's website and, like, get all my specs and stuff. And while I was on there, I was like, oh, let me just compare this alongside a Signature. And there were, like, every box was checked. I was like, what is the difference?
Yeah.
Like, there's hardly anything else you get in a Signature standard.
Yeah. We do really need to make an effort sometime, go to a dealer or something, and poke around some more basic trim Mazdas. Because every time we drive a Mazda, we're like, wow, this is so nice, but it's also the very top tip trim.
Yeah.
I'd like to know what, like, a more base
I would
Mazda
love to drive
like.
a base model CX-5 or a base model CX-30.
Yeah, or a 3.
I know. I was thinking that maybe we'd have the chance when my friend Callie was in the market for a CX-5, but she bought a Grand Touring.
Sure. Which is very much
like,
the sweet spot of, like,
non-turbo, all-wheel drive Grand Touring. It's like the perfect spec.
Nice. Good move, Callie.
Yes.
Yeah, I get in this, and I'm immediately comfortable. The ride is a little, while it is soft, there's kind of a vagueness, sort of a squish to it that I do think most people are going to appreciate, but it's almost as if, like, everything's a bit muted. I think it's a bit, there's not a lot of directness, which, again, I think is smart in a 3-row SUV.
Yeah.
I think they do a good balance of kind of not directness, but also not vagueness. It's an interesting middle ground. All the controls make a lot of sense. Everything is sort of right where you need it.
Physical climate control panel.
Yes, very nice. Very cockpity in here.
One drive mode?
Yes.
Sport or
not sport.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sport
or just yes. However, while there is one drive mode, there are 2 fuel gauges. Very silly.
There are.
Yep, and they often don't agree.
I can never work out how to use any of that stuff.
You
which
don't.
is why I use the infotainment for fuel economy.
Yeah. The only thing you can do is just toggle through the center screen.
Yeah.
You can't. Someone's probably going to yell at me in the comments. You can probably change that screen while you're maybe stopped or something like that. Like there's some.
You can do it in here.
Okay.
Go to settings, and then you have to go to
in-vehicle displays,
and then you go to.
Oh, you're in center display right now.
I'm in center display. I need.
Maybe when we're stopped, you can get the other vehicle in-vehicle displays. No?
What do you? There is a way to do this. I know there's a way to do this. Come on.
Park, maybe?
Ambient display? Nope, that's...
System settings now is available, maybe? Boy.
Negative. Okay, well, forget everything I just said.
Mazda CX-9 sucks.
Do these extend? I think they do. No, they don't. No, because Mazda puts
I wish... Mazda, Joe, if you're watching, there's literally only one thing you need to change in your cars, and it's this little dinky thing. Just make the whole thing extend. The whole car feels more premium.
You'd think that it would be more expensive for them to manufacture
do that little,
this thing.
Yeah. The only thing I can think is they have some deal with, like, the company that produces that,
sun
the
visor
producer.
Manufacturer.
Yeah, and they've said, like, we'll do it this way for the next 10 years, and now they're stuck with that.
Yeah, the contract.
But whenever we're driving the Maverick and we get to extend those all the way, I'm like, this is such a great thing for such a cheap car.
Ford does a lot of dumb things, but that's something that Ford is great about is sun visors. Ford has the best sun visors. F-150, the Bronco, the Maverick, they all have phenomenal sun visors.
Daily Motor top tip: if sun visors are important to you, buy a Ford.
Buy a Ford. That's right. It's one of those things, you know, we get in American cars and we're like, oh, there's a lot of shitty things about them. You might have to bleep that, sorry. But there's like little things that just make sense in American cars that like you're like, oh man, this is so nice.
Like turning the car off and the radio stays on for like 30 seconds or so. Yeah.
Or sun visors.
Right, or sun visors, or cup holders often are done well because Americans like their big gulps.
Yep.
Cool. Well, we highly recommend the Mazda CX-9 for anyone who needs a two-row vehicle that's a little larger. Honestly, because most people who are in the market for a three-row vehicle probably need something like a minivan. Yes. So if you're shopping for a three-row, get a minivan. If you're shopping for a two-row, get the CX-5.
Charlie recommends the Chrysler Pacifica.
Yes. Well, depends on how many miles
you drive. Sienna, even though...
Sienna
just wear a blindfold until you get into it.
Right,
and then take it off.
Yes.
And then put a bag on your head when you're in the car.
If you plan on owning it for more than 3 years, Sienna, less than 3 years, Pacifica. So Daily Motor top tip.
Two-row SUV, the three-row Mazda CX-9.
Yes. Yep. And if you're shopping for a two-row SUV, Mazda CX-5. Oh no, we already said that. You get this.
If you're shopping for a hatchback,
you get the CX-5. Yep. Yeah. I any complaints in here are, like you said, just observations. They're like critiques.
There was nothing that like irritated me to the point of like I hate this car.
No. And the other thing is kind of like I said earlier, when I had to drive around and do errands, even though it was just me, I wasn't like loathsome that I had to drive this.
No.
It was like, okay, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Whereas if I had that Traverse, I would have not done the errands. I would have found something else to do with my time.
You would have not done the errands?
Yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to Mazda for supplying the Carbon Edition CX-9 and for not mucking it up. We will be back with you next video you watch, which could be 20 seconds from now or 20 days from now.
Or 20 years from now.
Or 20 years from now. You could tune back in 2042. Chris and I will still be here, still making videos about the CX-9 that probably won't have been updated yet. This is a good example of a car that doesn't need to be updated necessarily.
Yeah.
It's just as old as some of the things we've reviewed recently, like the Tacoma, but the Tacoma feels ancient.
Yeah, this still feels ancient. No, it feels pretty new still.
Still feels good. All right, we're Chris and Charlie with Daily Motor, and as always, three-row on.